Hey, what's going on, everyone? It is 6:32. We are 2 minutes late. I do apologize to Wade,
Oh,
Brad, and everyone else that is upset we're a minute late. No, I'm just kidding. It is episode 10. We are in the double digits. Finally, that's amazing. Can't believe we've been doing this for 10 episodes, guys. That's like 2.5 months of good stuff, and this Thursday slot as I think worked out pretty well. And speak of the devil, there's Trey.
It's going to touch down, I'm thinking. And oh man, it's moving right towards the goal again.
Okay, we're gonna mute Trey.
Wait,
for
that's
a
not
second.
Trey. Oh, there he is.
There he is.
Drive.
All right, there he is. Trey had some issues with flights. We're happy that he is home safe. I guess there's tornadoes going on in down in Oklahoma. Is that right, Wade? And everyone else?
Man, it's spinning. Oh, good night.
Oh, I think he's got the news going on, right?
There it is.
Tornado warning.
Tornado on the ground, David. Tornado on the ground.
I can't hear him.
tornadoes.
For my fiance. We're on the ground. Tornado now, southwest of Cole.
Yeah, there's tornadoes, and Trey was up in the air for a little bit.
I just landed.
It's all good. Take your time, man. If you need to kind of gather yourself, that's all good, man. Don't worry about it. We got 78 here.
And folks,
I'm gonna mute him for a second. I'm gonna mute you for a sec, Trey. We got 78 here. We are down a couple friends. It looks like Marcus and Vinny are gonna be out for the next couple of weeks, doing some tour stuff with Marcus, but it's all good. We're still here. We're four strong out of the 6 and all that good stuff. 78. What's going on, man? How are things going on in your part of town? Country?
Things are cool, man. Things are cool. It's been a busy week with work.
Yeah.
Pretty wild. Yeah.
Cool.
Which is a good thing. Can't complain about that. Just tired.
Yeah.
But yeah, a few things caught my eye this week.
Cool. Let's see it.
This one is now live. It's the Mondo. Well, Funko bought Mondo, so Funko Mondo 1/6. So it's that larger 12-inch scale, like the Hot Toys, Harley Quinn. And yeah, this went live, and they're doing what they call a timed edition. So it's an open pre-order for about a week, I think. The sculpt was done. It's a cool story because the sculptor is a guy who used to make customs, or he does make customs, and he was doing a whole series of Batman animated series customs, and he got hooked up with Mondo to help with this, and he became the concept designer and sculptor for this. I just think it's really captures the look of the animated show really well. They even tried to do the homage to the Ross cover there on the left. It's got really cool accessories, like if you remember the show, on the bottom right there, she's got the mannequin's arms when she screams out, "Careful, I'm armed," which is a bit silly, but yeah. But then the main thing is they're doing this timed exclusive, so you can see it's from yesterday, from the 9th, and it'll go to the 16th. So you got a week, and it's a $20 increase in price for the exclusive, but you get her 2 hyenas, 3 extra head sculpts, and you get some, the bowl, the meat, and the dog bone, which is pretty cool.
Hey,
I was pretty excited about that.
78. Is this the first time Mondo is doing a timed edition?
That I don't think so.
Because they do this with vinyls now. So I'm just kind of wondering if, previously what the, I guess, edition size was, and what it'll be moving forward. Is it going to be a significant jump? Or actually, I guess my question is, what was the edition size before, and what do you think the edition size will be now?
The last time I jumped in on 1/6 was the SDCC Wolverine, the animated series Wolverine, where they put him in the meme packaging.
I remember that.
The picture frame.
Yeah, I remember that.
And they did that. Now, that was for SDC, and that was supposedly quite limited, but it seems it was more readily available than it actually was.
Right.
So, yeah, people were a bit upset by that because people buying multiples trying to flip it, but it hasn't really jumped because, yes, it came out for SDCC, but then it seemed to be there was more drops and went through retailers or something like that. Wasn't quite sure, but there was always like plenty on the market. The timed edition, they've done it for other, like for Mondo would do it for posters. I know that. I think they've done it for some of their other figures, like they do the smaller vinyl figures. They did it not a timed edition. They did a limited number for the Scott Pilgrims. I know that. They've done timed edition, I think, for the Joker, the previous Joker, where you do get a bonus. But most of the pre-orders are anyway a limited pre-order window. So it's a bit of a renaming or rebranding of just, hey, the pre-order is open for 2 weeks or a week. Go to it. But they're, the timed edition, it's a deluxe. It's a $20 more, but for the $20, what you get is worth it, in my opinion. And not everyone went in for the Batman or the Joker, but Harley kind of crosses over. And so there is now, like, people are like, oh shit, Mondo's going to go, maybe they're going to go pretty deep. Like the Mr. Freeze that came out is going for some serious money now. These are $150 to $200 retail, and they do go up. So this would probably be a smart one to grab. I grabbed one. Another thing that just caught my eye was, I like my whiskey. I know it's been going up in price, and I was just browsing some of the prices of some of my stuff that I've got. And they have websites just like we have in comics, where you put in your collection and it tells you, sales data. And I put in some of the stuff I have now. This is a free account, so you only can put 5 bottles in it, but you can see 376% gain ROI there. That's
nice.
Pretty damn good, man. But when I travel, I buy whiskey usually duty free, because it's a little bit cheaper. And I used to go to Japan a lot, and I used to buy, like, every trip, like with my family, I'd buy a couple bottles of these, which is the Yamazaki 18.
Oh, that looked like the Suntory.
Yeah, it's a Suntory Yamazaki 18. Now, about 5 years ago, there was a boom in Japanese whiskey because the quality of the whiskey for the price, the retail price, it didn't make sense, meaning it was way too cheap for the quality. So it was like the Macallan 18 is kind of like a gold standard in the market, and you could buy a better quality whiskey for half the price. And then so it just started exploding in popularity once people started learning about it, and they got the better distribution globally. And it went up in price. Yeah, and it's doing pretty well. So it was just interesting, something that, and I just wanted to highlight, like, you don't have to buy like the rare whiskeys. When you travel, you can they always do like travel retailer exclusives, like duty free. So this is one I picked up in 2019. It was like $180-200.
Nice.
And according to this, it's now 800 euros. So,
That Pappy Van Winkle is that 30K bottle, right?
Oh yeah. So there's certain whiskeys out there, the Port Ellens and the Pappies and all that, which are, the buy-in price is really high because it is already rare.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm just saying is, like, there's certain editions, they do it usually for the travel retail, and they'll make it a special edition, and that's the one that usually tends to go up. Now, of course, the hard thing is flipping this stuff, because there are regulations or limitations with shipping alcohol. Like, I know in Arkansas, like, you can't use the post. You have to use ground.
Oh, you can't use medium mail?
No, like, you just can't. So, like, even if you're ordering, like, online from overseas or within the States, some places can't receive booze in the mail. Like, I didn't realize that till I was ordering stuff from California, and I wanted to send to Arkansas, and they're like, "Oh, we can't send to Arkansas." And I was like, "Why?" And it's the law, some weird archaic law that you can't send booze in the post. So the only way is I think it's UPS ground. So there's some weird things like that. So flipping it's not as easy, maybe, but yeah.
Could you
The
go
ROIs
to
are there?
Could you go to like a liquor store and try to sell it to them?
See, I don't know much about it, like, because honestly, I was just buying this to drink.
Okay.
And I like to drink my whiskeys, and it was one of those things. Like, I started noticing the Japanese whiskeys were going up in retail price. I was like, it used to be $150, $170, then it went to $210, $220. So I was like, oh man, I better buy before it gets silly. And then I wasn't paying attention. And then this aftermarket, just like comics and the collectibles, it just went insane. So yeah, it was just something to take note of. You know, like, hey, there's other things out there that, you know, if you enjoy, it could also be something you can make money on.
Very cool, dude. My brother-in-law, he's very into the Japanese whiskeys for sure. We went to a taste testing kind of event years ago, and I'm not a drinker like that whatsoever, but it was pretty fun to like kind of learn about the process and how they adapted it and all that. So that's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. There was some pretty good ROI, like you said, on rate of return for what he paid.
Big time.
You know, Ralph may be able to sympathize with me a little bit. During the pandemic, during the botting era, there was a pretty big alcohol that came out. It was the Tesla Tequila.
Yep.
And I got 2 bottles of that. I have no fucking clue what to do with it. You look online, there's people trying to get $2,000-$3,000 a bottle for it. But it's kind of like what 78 was talking about, though. How the fuck do you sell them? I mean,
It's on
there's
eBay,
liquor
though,
laws.
right?
Yeah,
People were
like
selling
there's
them on eBay.
when people were doing the empty bottle trick.
Yeah.
And they're like, I have an empty bottle or a decanter, and you know what it is, but
For sure. Cool. Good stuff, man. Sneaker time. Hold on one sec, guys. I'll get the sneaker stuff going on. All right.
damn, I'm the only person who got a fucking headset on, like I'm a telemarketer and shit.
You're lucky. You look way better than all of us. So
I have to do this because my speakers are dead.
Ralph looks like he's about to hit pause and tell somebody to try to sell him some magazines and shit on the side.
Ferd's got the same ones. I just think his is
No,
green,
Ferd.
right?
Ferd
got
looks
two
like
sides.
Ferd looks like he's fucking connected to Wall Street and all kinds of shit with that headset on.
Anacott Steel. Hey,
Hey, if it works, it works. Who gives a shit? I'm just giving you shit.
hey, Taylor's dropping her.
I don't
her link.
have a microphone. My microphone's down here.
Yeah, I feel like 78's microphone's the best out of all of ours, to be honest. If you guys are on Twitch, Taylor, she's not a bot. Swear to God, she's a real person. Follow her on Twitch. I guess I was talking to Renee Dragon's Den in the chat. She's a big Star Wars head, so maybe Taylor, if you're down, definitely come through and drop the knowledge for us. And we got another friend of the show, Icy. She's a friend of my show on Sundays, and she's part of the Dragon's Den Discord as well. So thanks for coming through, guys. Love building the community. That's really awesome for you guys to come through. And but anyway, back to sneakers. You guys take it away.
Well, the first, last week, one of the main topics that we talked about were the Jordan Spider-Verse, Into the Spider-Verse 2 sneakers that came out. And we had a couple people get lucky and hit, but unfortunately, it looks like the bottom has dropped out on the resale of these. As of a few minutes ago, you could pick them up for $260 to $270 pretty consistently. And there's been some 240s and some 250 sales when these things were pushing, $350 to close to $400 after they came out. I didn't like the Snickers. Jesus Christ, I didn't like the sneaker particularly well, to be honest with you. Our buddy Mel Vaughn from the Drunken Chat posted some black and red ones that were apparently a sample that they were thinking about releasing, which are a lot better looking in my opinion than these.
Yeah, those are samples. Oh, I thought they were like a custom. Those are dope.
Yeah, those. Those with that web. Those were the first ones that when they talked about these, that was the picture that came out first. Was that the one with the webbing? But as time went on, these ones that look like the lost and found were the official. Yeah, like Trey said, the design is okay. Obviously, the first iteration is better in my opinion, and I mean, I think that's everybody's opinion as well, based off the price. But I mean, over time, I can definitely see it go up. Or if he ends up wearing them in the movie, because I'm assuming that's what he's gonna wear, right? Because he wore the first iteration in the movie, so that's kind of what I'm thinking is gonna happen.
Speaking of the Spider-Verse, real quick, I posted a link earlier in the week, and I don't know if anyone saw it or not. But if you pre-order IMAX tickets for opening night, they are giving away a Bill Sienkiewicz custom poster, which hasn't been shown yet. And Sienkiewicz is, no kidding. That's kind of what I thought. I ended up buying, I had enough fun at Guardians. I decided that I was going to go watch Spider-Verse open tonight, to be honest with you. So bought tickets for some some clients and some customers I
Okay.
had, and a couple
He
buddies,
is a
Doc
nice
Joe.
guy. He is a
people
nice
like
guy.
that.
He doesn't hate everything.
Where did you drop that
Me?
link, Trey?
Yeah, I'll read it. Honestly, no. I mean, I'll talk about it a little bit more later on about the Guardian stuff. But one of the other ones, the Air Ferds, the Yarritos dunks that he's been eyeing for the last month, have increased in value a little bit and are holding pretty steady around the $400 mark, which is double and then some what you paid for the dunks if you're able to get lucky enough. And there's quite a few sales. They're holding steady. So if you're one of the people who got lucky enough to get one of the Air Ferds, you did pretty good, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and I think those are gonna continue to go up because the stock was definitely a lot lower than what people expected. I want to say it was in the low 30s, 30K, which usually for a release, Nike tends to do about 75 to 150 for a general release. For a big release like a Jordan, it's usually in the 200Ks. So I mean, as time goes by, these can be one of those. You pull that shoe out 3 years from now, it's probably going to be close to 1K. So yeah, if you hit on those, congrats. Yeah, definitely.
Dude,
It's interesting. I remember Gary Vee a long time ago talking about how comics and cards were going to be the next thing because sneakerheads were like, it's too expensive or too hard for me to keep up with this hobby. I got to move my money somewhere else. And I feel like money's going back into sneakers a little bit because I feel like there's too much money going into comics and cards. I don't know. That's kind of what I see lately.
During the pandemic, everybody was definitely spending money on shoes, but that's because a majority of people were getting those stimulus checks. Recently, it hasn't been too. I mean, if you're reselling shoes, you haven't been doing too well, unless it's like a big release, like a Travis Scott or this dunk that just came out. But I mean, as time goes by, I think eventually the sneaker game will pick up the resale game. So I think you're right, Ferd.
Yeah, I would say that what happened because the sneaker game you could say really started in the early thousands.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The
sure.
Like the pinnacle moment was the SB line.
Yeah.
That kind of took it beyond Jordans, like, oh shit, and retroing shit, all that back then. And there was definitely a dip. Like I used to be into it hard. I was buying full size runs, that kind of shit, and flipping out the back of the store. But anyway, it dipped in the mid thousands, like 06, 07.
Yeah,
it dipped pretty hard, and I think it was the LeBron like 10 or something around that, the South Beach.
Oh yeah.
That like changed the market because it was a new design that was limited. It wasn't just retro.
Yeah,
and that kind of brought in different collectors and things, and then the market started going up again, and then it dipped again. Like SBs tanked. They were disposable shoes, and it was okay. Then you could skate in SBs again. Like you could actually find them in stores and shit.
yeah.
And then it dipped, and then it came back up. So I think there's this stability in the market that if you just wait long enough and your shoe doesn't fall apart, you don't get the midsole rot, you'll be able to move it again. It'll go back up. But there definitely is an up and down.
Yeah,
For
and
sure.
Speaking of the dunks, SB Dunks 78, I kind of wanted to get your opinion on these. Ferd, if you want to blow these up, I sent a link in the chat. These
those clot
clot,
dunks.
yeah, those are clot fragment.
That guy. Sorry, I got a personal thing with that guy. So no.
Oh, beef.
No. That guy's fake ass posing, clout hungry.
Price wise, these are doing pretty well. So they come out next week on the 19th. This isn't the first collab that Clot and Fragment have done. They did an Air Force a couple years ago. This is the first SB Dunk that they're going to do together with Nike. The last I checked on StockX was a couple hours ago. These are pre-selling for around 700. Yeah, and they have that tearaway material, which is kind of similar to the Fur Dunks. If you skate them, you can. If you skate them, you kind of get this different silhouette underneath the shoe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of what.
Happens, yeah. All right.
That's kind of the gimmick they're going now with SBs, but I expect these to have the same stock as the Fur Dunks. So if you end up hitting these, yeah, I'm not gonna say don't quick flip, but over time I can definitely see these shooting up in price a lot quicker than the Fur Dunks. So
yeah,
I don't know if you've seen
the
these,
cloth
Trey.
stuff. Like
I didn't do those. I was about to say I know 78 don't like them, but they're kind of fire.
Like their
Yeah.
first collab back in the day, the problem with him, he tends not to be an innovator. He tends to take something that was already popular and hot and do a derivative.
Yeah.
That was the diss of his brand, Clot itself. Like he'd go to Japan, he'd go to Neighborhood, Double Taps, and then he'd make, or Bape back then, and he'd make a diluted version for the local market where he's from. He is a celebrity actor kind of guy. There is a sex tape of him,
That's Edison Chen? Or are you talking about
Yeah.
Hiroshi?
No, Chan, man. Hiroshi's god tier, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Hiroshi's a god, man. That guy, yeah,
See,
he's a
where
king.
else are you gonna
talking
find
about
out
Clot.
about which designers have sex tapes and shit like that, other than
Only
fucking
here,
on
yeah.
the radar, boy?
Yeah. So, like,
Boys and girls.
I bumped into the guy a few times back in the day, and yeah, he just, he came off like an asshole, man. He just, yeah. And he would come over, like, back, there was a couple of them that would come over and they'd just buy like the entire season of something, and take it back. And they bought their way, for me, my personal thing is they bought their way into the scene because they had not their money, daddy's money, They're rich families. Like, they make money, but their parents make way more money. So there was a bit of that, and
It's
I wish
actually
my
in
parents made a lot of money.
yeah, same here.
yeah.
It's actually in celebration of Clot's 20th anniversary, and I didn't even know they were around that long.
Yeah. So their first shoe that they did, it was kind of one of the clear sneakers that happened, right? Which was, again, derivative of the Espos. Like way back in the day, Nike would do these collaborations with street artists, and one of them was Espo, the graffiti writer. And Espo took, I think it was an Air Force 2, and he made it partially clear, and he gave you a sock. It was a hilarious thing is you wore them, and the freaking shoe would steam up.
Oh,
They
wow.
were designed. It was disgusting. And they made, Klopp made their version of it. And, the only cool thing that I, can give props to is that sometimes they, like these ones, there is a little bit of a cultural homage in there,
Right.
Cultural touch, a heritage thing there. That's kind of cool. Yeah.
I like the way that the black laces with that black box on the lace box looks pretty nice, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's a nice shoe. Definitely some money to be made there if you hit those on sneakers. So another fragment collab, these Converse weapon fragment. This pair came out today. Not so much in the way of flip, but I thought these were kind of interesting because this isn't the first fragment and Converse collaboration, but it's the first weapon and fragment.
It's the first weapon, yeah.
Yeah, and weapons were the first Converse to kind of blow up besides the Chuck. So I guess the only I would say bad thing about this is kind of being labeled the poor man's Air Jordan 1, but I can definitely see these, if a celebrity of not Travis Scott, but if a celebrity starts wearing these in streetwear, I can definitely start seeing these blowing up because, like you said previously, the Dunks, nobody really cared about Dunks until Travis Scott started wearing them again. So I thought these were pretty cool.
Yeah. Weapons are a weird shoe, don't you find?
Yeah.
Like, you're spot on. It's a poor man's Air Jordan.
Yeah.
Dude, those look like some shit you could get at Target, like in 2005.
They're not comfortable,
being
but
honest.
hey, J1s aren't comfortable either,
Exactly. Yeah.
The new you aren't wrong, but I will say the newer design they're not as bad as the original design when it comes to wearability. They've made a couple of minor improvements on the ones that make them a little bit more wearable than they used to.
Oh, the hack for me is you go half a size up and you get the Zoom Air inner sole from the SB Dunk and slide it in. Then you're good.
Damn, that's some pro shit.
Skate?
Say that again.
Skate,
Use the SB Dunks insoles.
So SB Dunk, I don't know if they still make it. Like, to be frank, I haven't bought some SB Dunks in 10, 15 years. But SB Dunks, basically their gimmick was that they had Zoom Air, but it wasn't actually in the shoe. It was just in the sole, like the midsole, like the footbed. So you could take the footbed out and you got the Zoom Air on the heel, which was like your heel protection because of heel bruise when you skated. All right. So you would get an old retro shoe, like a normal Dunk or an Air Jordan 1. You go half a size up because the SB sole, that footbed's a bit thicker. So you need the space in your toes. Otherwise, you're going to cram your toes. I got a wide foot. So you go half a size up, slide it in, you're good to go.
Damn, I didn't know
You
that.
get
That's
that.
good info though.
Yeah.
Dropping knowledge.
God.
78 knows a little bit about everything. I fucking love it.
I'm pretty sure he knows about these Travis Scott Mac Attacks. These are
Yeah.
the John McEnroe originally came out with these in
Yeah.
'84. The only difference is they have the Travis Scott backward check. I don't know what the price on. Yeah, I don't know what the price is going to be on these, but it's a Travis Scott. I can imagine these are going to do. They're going to do pretty well in resale.
They'll do well,
but
man. They'll
yeah,
do well.
I just thought it was
Have
kind of
they
lazy.
retroed the McEnroes recently?
I don't think they have.
They haven't, right?
Yeah, I
'Cause
don't think so.
That's a yeah. Like I if they just straight retroed it, I might fuck with it. That's where
Not
I'm
with
at.
this,
Like,
not with this backward check.
yeah.
Dude, that's
so,
an interesting looking shoe though. I mean, it looks like kind of like a. It looks like
dad
the
shoe?
kind of like the New Balance that your dad mows in and shit,
Yeah,
but it's got
exactly,
like
man.
some.
Yeah,
got some
not-
other
it's
stuff
from that
going
era,
on.
man.
Hey,
I mean,
me too.
I thought they were pretty interesting. Like you said, it's the first time it's going to be retroed. I don't know if they're going to come out with the original Mac Attack, but these came out recently, or he was seen wearing these, so people are
Already, yeah.
yeah,
No,
they're kind
he
of
does it
thinking about
right. He wears it without saying anything. In the
Yeah,
device.
exactly. Yep.
I mean, that's how you do it. Yo, our guy Chungi Comics, he's a tennis player. He has to get these.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, just to go back on the frags and the Converse, they've also done the chucks and things like that.
Yeah.
In the past, low tops and things. They are hard to come by, but they don't go for much.
Yeah, definitely not.
There's definitely a hard ceiling on them.
Yeah, it's definitely a personal shoe. It's not for resale.
Yeah,
I just thought
exactly.
these were pretty interesting. And then the last bit of sneaker news was this morning, Kanye and Adidas agreed to finally release the rest of his what he has in inventory. I guess the deal is to some of the proceeds are going to go to a
charity.
I believe it's a charity, and the other 15% Kanye is going to pocket those. So
That's
I
good.
mean,
150K, right?
I don't know how much, but the interesting thing is on Melrose there's an Adidas store, and Kanye has a Yeezy store that's going to open up. I think it's a block down the street from the Adidas store. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
The most comfortable shoe ever made.
Yeah, so we're gonna get
350s.
some more 350s. Yep.
I
think it's funny that the Adidas stock just like 10 sales. 10.
Yeah, they did. That was bad. That was horrible for Kanye to say and tweet what he was tweeting, and then Adidas thinking that they could actually sell sneakers in this day and age without him. After he basically, moved. Adidas has always been, like soccer players and stuff like that wear Adidas. I know Adidas is a lot bigger in Europe than it is here, but I mean, for the first time of my lifetime, Yeezy made Adidas. It was. I mean, Ralph could probably attest to it and talk about it more than I can. But I mean, Yeezy release days. I mean, that's what bots were going crazy. I mean, it was people getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, getting proxies and all their accounts ready, just trying to hit any pairs of 350s.
The Yeezy slide release, I want to say I spent about 3.5 hours setting up the night before. Then it was crazy, and I thought I wasn't gonna hit anything because the first 30 minutes, the site dies. And I hit like one pair, but then all of a sudden the bot just started hitting. I hit like 24, 25 pairs, and dude, it was just freaking nuts. And the first.
Is that your biggest lick?
No, I think my biggest was the Air Jordan 1 Mochas. Do you remember when with Rush?
I do remember the Mochas. How many did you hit?
It was like in the high 20s, definitely. The Mochas and the slides were, But since then the slides don't really go for much because they restock all the time. But the first Yeezy slide drop was that was nuts.
It's funny just to comment about Adidas itself as like a sneaker brand. They've had the Yeezys and the Boost, but if you take the Yeezys away, like they haven't done fuck all, man. In terms of design,
they've tried to steal elements of Yeezy's design and add them to their other sneakers in the last.
Well, even like
8,
the
9,
Boost
1.
and all that was they took some of the dudes from Nike, right? That was a whole thing there for a while. They took the design.
You know what? The one thing that's funny was I hated the slides when they came out, to be honest with you. Like I thought they looked goofy, but once you get a pair, oh my God, they are the absolute best thing. You can run in those fuckers, they protect your toes. They got some grip. You know what I mean? They really do. Like it's like a 4-wheel drive version of a sandal. It really truly is. I look like a goofy idiot wearing them, but I
You
don't
look
give a
like
shit.
you've given
That's
up.
That's my airport shoe.
That's
100%. That's my airport shoe.
That's a perfect shoe for the airport.
yeah, exactly. An airport
Oh, it's
shoe. That's right. You've
100%
given up,
perfect.
man.
I look like that 43-year-old
sweatpants
trying
in
too
those.
hard, but I don't give a
Nah.
fuck.
I'll never wear them. I'll never wear them. My sister said they were cool. I was like, nope, I'm not wearing them, man. Can't do that. It's the one reason.
We're
good
get
stuff,
started,
man.
pair.
No, that's okay. You're good. Anyway. Next up, comics and mags. I know we were kind of like trying to venturing off, but just like Godfather 3 pull us all back. So we're going a little heavy on comics this week, I think, compared to previous shows. But I kind of want to ask, these are some thoughts I had about just the comic collecting world lately, and I wanted to bring this out to the group. What do you guys think are key brands? What I mean by brands is like Star Wars, like Spider-Man, not like Marvel and DC, of projects or IP that have a good chance of spilling over to magazines. It's kind of a tough question.
The
But
IP because of the magazine format itself, distribution, the people who used to consume it. It was more mainstream. That the IPs that relate to magazines have to be more mainstream. You can't go too niche, probably, unless it's the video game thing, like where it's such a hard link there. So yeah, your Sports Illustrateds, I think those are spot on. Your Star Wars is a spot on.
I know it's kind of an easy or like kind of an obvious kind of question, but because there's not that many I can think of.
I think Slam might be one.
Slam.
Yeah, or there's a thing about the celebrities. That's right. Yeah, you're exactly right. Like the first time so and so was on the cover of Playboy.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. And then I know I asked this question last week, but I did a test on one of my graded Star Wars Insider mags, and whether it was bad timing, whether I'm too early, whether it was just the mark's just not there yet. I did sell that Star Wars 95 Ahsoka issue in 9.2 for $30. Obviously I lost some money on that sale, but I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think the magazine market is too soon? Is it like not come to fruition? Do people want 9.8 just like they want in comic books? What do you guys think?
Nobody else? Okay.
Where'd everybody go?
Everyone left. Everyone left. I think it's still in its infancy. So in terms of like, should you grade now or not? If you got like, cash to burn or whatever, grading's good because it, it does preserve the whatever it is. So you're not worried about, even if I store it, it's not going to get dinged during storage, because that's happened to all of us, right? We're like, I'm going to look after this and I'll grade it once the market goes up. And then during 10 years, you've moved a box and shit, you got a ding, you got a spine tick. So, there's certain things that I think are evergreen, or blue chip, that you could grade now and hold on to once the market starts, picking up. Mags are interesting. They've been around forever, right?
Right.
They've been around forever. The thing, I guess, about other collectibles that have popped, whether video games or vinyl or cassette tapes or this or that the window that they were produced is done, so to speak. So there is a very limited thing. Magazines have that, but they were around for much longer. So does it even go into like newspapers? People used to collect newspapers with certain headlines.
Yeah.
Or like, Time magazines, Man of the Year covers and things like that.
Yeah.
Do they go for big money? I don't know. They may go for a little more than cover, but I don't think they're going to go for that much more.
Yeah, and I think it's an interesting kind of thing to watch out for the next 2 to 3 years, because if you buy a magazine for $5 and it doesn't skyrocket to $100, raw or whatever, what have you, it's still a cool collectible to have if you're into the collecting space. We always talk about obviously like making the hobby pay for itself, right? But what I think is most interesting about the magazine kind of collecting part that I've found interesting is not so much the covers, but the first mentions. Like here, there's a Sports Illustrated. It's Tiger on the cover here, but it's actually the first mention of Albert Pujols in a Sports Illustrated. I don't know if that's going to
Albert
be
who?
something down the. What's that?
Albert who?
He's a baseball player. Okay.
I know.
No, Marcus. It's funny you said that because Marcus knows nothing about sports at all. So
I don't know much about baseball, man.
Oh,
That's
okay.
the thing.
Pujols
So for
is
me, like the cover, like the Tiger Woods first thing would be more exciting than
right than that, right? And Trey has the first mention of Tiger Woods in a magazine as well, which I think for me, like that's history right there because they mentioned.
Yeah, you see that's I think you got to go to that level.
Exactly. Yeah,
when it
that's
comes
what
to
I was gonna
mags.
say.
It's got to go to that. Like, and a shout out to Omar. It's got to be an iconic person.
It's tougher. It's a tougher
band.
market, right? Is that what?
Yeah, because there's just too much.
Yeah, at the moment, I think it's the collecting magazines is definitely something new and it's cool. But for it to catch on, it's gonna take like a Logan Paul to say,
For
"Hey,
real. There you go.
I want the first." Yeah, but that's what it's gonna take for it
No,
yeah,
to hit
no,
the
I get it.
mainstream.
That's it. I mean,
And then
that's
when it's gonna blow up. And then you have this first. So when let's just say he bought the first Albert Pujols Sports Illustrated cover, then the next thing is going to be, well, I want the first mention of Albert Pujols. But it's going to take something huge like that for, I think, this to blow up the way video games did, Pokemon cards did, that sort of thing. But collecting now, I think you're definitely have the right mindset because it's something that is untapped. But it's just going to take a huge catalyst for it to catch on as big as comics, at least.
Yeah. And it's like, like I said, it's like a $5 investment versus like
exactly, yeah,
put $100 in Pepe and like, I'm gonna go to.
If you put 100, you'd have $1 million. So
no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, and it's a tough spec. Kind of like in the chat. Kind of obviously what Omar's saying, like Pujols, he's great. I mean, he hit 700 home runs, like all that, but he's just not. Like I guess for pop culture's sake, he's not that guy. I don't know. Personally, I thought he was the greatest. He was my favorite player of the 2000s personally. So I had that personal kind of thing. But anyway, yeah, I just want to get your guys' kind of opinion on
and
the
I think
current
Joe in the chat's also right. Like first cover for a magazine is probably going to be more important than the first mention.
Yeah.
Unless like you had that Jordan thing, like that's a bit different,
Yeah, sure.
Now the thing with the sports character, players is probably because of the baseball card, the card market, first rookie, there's that kind of, it connects to it, there is that. So I think there'll always be a little bit of a market for that, but
yeah. Cool. Good stuff, guys. Trey, you are back and great timing because this is all you, man.
Did you cry, Trey?
Can you hear us?
I don't think he can hear.
Oh, we'll wait for Trey to put his ears in real quick. But real quick, have you guys seen Guardians of the Galaxy yet?
Yeah.
Okay, I've seen it too. So I guess spoilers if you haven't seen it yet. If you don't want to hear about Guardians of the Galaxy, 3, 2, 1, shut off your
it's been a week. No, you don't even have to give that nice of a fuck. It's been a week.
Well, whatever. I don't know.
Did you get teary, Trey? Did you get teary during it?
Man, I ain't gonna lie to you. There was when I thought that a certain Parks and Recreation character was gonna die the same way that Yondu did. I did. I mean, I didn't quite cry, but like I said, I was in the theater. I think you asked Doc Joe. I had my hands like this. My head is like, no, this is not how this is supposed to end.
No, he
I've been
James
heavily critical.
He messed with us, didn't he?
Oh, he did.
Oh,
especially with the
did.
face stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He definitely
because that's usually like a brain hit. You know what I mean? When your eyes do what it did, that's usually
it was a total recall moment.
I have been very critical of Marvel and Disney, the cinematic portion of that deal for a long, long time. I personally thought that this was a perfect movie. It was a perfect ending. It tied up some loose ends, a few other things, and it was good, man. It was a good comic book movie. It felt like the same kind of movie that was being made 4 to 5 years ago, in my opinion. I don't know what you all thought about it or everyone else's opinion, but the ratings seemed to be doing well. The numbers did really, really good. So, I'm excited to see what James Gunn's going to do at DC after this again.
Yeah, that was my thought.
He's made some really quality
DC's
films.
So happy, man. They want Guardians to be a big hit, right?
They should be. That's, I I think competition's good, but it hasn't been much of a competition the last 10 years. To be honest, I mean, Warner Brothers DC's gotten the shit stomped out of them by Disney Marvel. So here's the thing, with the news today about the Disney subscriber base losing another, 200 million or 20 million or whatever it was. I think if DC starts making really good comic book movies, it's just going to make Marvel have to step back up and start going back to some of their old formula. And therefore we're going to get good entertainment again. Hopefully.
I hope so, man. Like you mentioned, I think what you said, it's a good comic book movie. That's the nail on the head for me, because it's the third edition or the third volume, third part, but we've seen them in other movies and stuff. So the thing of the comic book, the long form storytelling, continuation, multiple issues, building the characters, you can't have this movie without all that other stuff, right? And yeah, that's one of the reasons we like comics is that you keep following your characters, and this it hits the feelings because it's like it's the third film, but it's actually maybe the fifth or sixth time you've seen them on screen, and it stays with the creator, so to speak. James Gunn has held on to these guys. It's his vision, and I think that they need to do more of that. I think you're spot on.
Yeah, my whole thing was sorry, Trey. My whole thing after the movie was, James Gunn didn't really reinvent the wheel. So why is it so difficult for all the other directors to put together, decent Marvel movies? He didn't stick exactly to the source material, but he incorporated it. So I mean, I was left scratching my head about that. Is like, why are the other movies so bad in comparison to what James Gunn does?
Well, the one thing that I noticed, and this is probably going to be a hot button topic, but this movie wasn't woke as opposed to the last 4 or 5 Marvel movies. There didn't seem to be any political statement being made from where I was sitting. There could have been something that I missed, but it was more, like I said, it was a perfect send off. You know what I mean? The Rocket Raccoon stuff was really, really good. I thought that, the Cosmo the Space Dog had a really cool part in this movie. You know what I mean? They've teased it, and there's been some cameos of it, but she had an important role at the end of the movie.
Was dope, yeah.
Yeah.
You like Howard the Duck's cameo in there?
Yeah.
Too? Yeah, it was cool, huh?
The whole thing was really, really good. Mm-hmm. But the one thing that I was happy about, and I told people this 9 years ago, you can go back and listen to the old fucking Unpressables. If you spec'd on Adam Warlock, you fucked up.
Dude, that was my only thing is, why did they make him so goofy? They kind of made him, he's such a badass, and that was my only problem is they made him too goofy, I thought.
Yeah, he was like slapstick comedy. I mean, like I said, the opening scene was pretty intense. But
that was cool. The opening scene was cool. But yeah,
they basically said that the High Evolutionary, basically didn't let him fully form in the cocoon and broke him out early to do what it did, which kind of explained it. But at the same point in time, you said it best. In the comic books, Adam Warlock's the one motherfucker that go to toe-to-toe with Thanos and whip his ass, and has done it multiple times over the course of his, introduction. So to make him almost a juvenile, kind of like a slapstick comedy thing was I don't think that was the right choice. But at the same point in time, if you read what Gunn said, he was kind of forced on the Adam Warlock deal. He didn't really want to necessarily go there, but Marvel forced him to kind of put him in that movie after the cocoon deal at the end of 2 and everything. So
did you guys like the High Evolutionary as a villain?
He was badass.
Perfect. Yeah.
He when you hate a person, like when you're watching a movie and you physically hate that person that's playing that character in that 1.5 hour, 2 hour time frame, they did an amazing job. And literally at the end of that movie, I mean, you wanted him to fucking die hard. Like
hurt.
But it was simple.
The way that he hurt Lila and Rocket and just how he, toyed with living beings and destroying planets, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but there's a lot of people wanting him to take over Jonathan Majors.
Yeah, I heard
Heck yeah.
As a
and
variant,
using basically saying High Evolutionary is a Kane variant.
Yeah.
I've also heard that they want to use John Boyega as the replace. That's who they're looking at to replace Jonathan Major too. So kind of random.
That'd be interesting. I could see that.
They have a little bit of physical. If you look at them face on, they. I don't think Boyega has the muscles that
their
Majors
motivations or something, to recreate, make it perfect it, right? That kind of in line with their agendas, so to speak.
It was fun. I'm excited about the Flash. Tickets should go on sale next week. All the people that have seen the movie have said it's the best DC comic book movie.
That's right.
I understand that that's not saying a lot. I did enjoy Wonder Woman. I thought Wonder Woman was a top tier comic book movie, but that was a long time ago. That was 7 years ago, 6 years ago.
More,
So,
I think, dude.
So one other thing, did you guys realize that this Free Comic Book Day Spider-Man 2 was basically short printed by Sony?
Nope.
I didn't know anything about it, and I started reading and getting some messages about it that Sony, it was a last minute deal, and a majority of the shops, I mean, unless you were a big shop, you didn't get any of these Spider-Man 2s. This Sony variant that came out for Free Comic Book Day, and it also had a first appearance of the new hood. Apparently, it's been going for $20 to $30 on eBay pretty consistently since last week. Did you guys get one?
I passed on every single one that I went by. Yeah, I passed on it. Oh well.
Is this
I don't know. I don't know how
it has dipped. It just started dipping. It's going for under 10 now.
Wasn't Blade's daughter the new comic book day going for around 22 when it came out? And that was like a huge print run.
Yeah.
Remember they had a 1 in 1,000 peach.
Yeah,
they had a 1 in 1,000 peach. That's right.
I wanted that at one point in time, to be honest with you. It's just hard. I started thinking back, sons and daughters of our major characters. Some of them do okay, but most of them really peter out pretty quickly. Kind of like, remember Lobo's daughter?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You remember last year when Bane's daughter was really popular with that one variant?
I remember that, yeah.
That was a dope variant as well, man.
Yeah. You start to see, it feels like those first couple weeks, people get really, really excited about, sons and daughters and this and that certain comic book characters, but they don't really tend to do long-term speculation-wise.
Mm-hmm.
Can y'all think? I think, yeah. I mean, King of Junior's exception, but I mean, Damien's books are tanking right now because compared to where they were 2 months ago when the Brave and the Bold news came out. John Kent's books have never really, really done that great, if we're going to be completely honest. I know there's a lot of arguing and, stuff about what his actual first appearance is. But yeah, I don't know. I can't think of any that have been just held really strong.
X-23?
Ooh, no, that's an interesting thought. If you remember, that was a clone at one point in time.
Yeah, I wouldn't call her
turned it into a daughter in canon recently.
I mean, yeah.
That's got to be the king,
why I consider it. But that's the closest thing I can think of, I don't know.
I mean, is Barbara Gordon?
Dylan Brock?
That's not bad.
That's the earliest one, the latest one
that I can think of.
Yeah, and he's actually pretty cool. Yeah. Osborn, his grandson. That's another one.
Normie.
Normie.
The Red Goblin.
Yeah. That got me back into comics in 2018. Actually,
too many goblins.
Did it really?
Yeah, I mean, like I was just, this seems kind of cool. I didn't think of that. I'll read it, that kind of thing. They had that Milestone comic, was like 900 or 800. I can't remember, but yeah, you did. I'll admit it. Just to read, so.
No, hey, that's the thing that comic books used to be really good at is there's usually always some certain storyline out there that a comic book fan can gravitate to. And that's been one of my bitches over the last couple of years. Is there just not really a great story? I mean, 78 I think he was in the same boat I was. He was excited about reading Sins of Sinister. I mean, they had built up to this event.
Oh, yeah, I haven't finished. I stopped reading.
Hey, don't trust me. You ain't fucking missing anything. XMen Red was really good this week, though. I got to give it credit. Storm and Charles Xavier had a pretty interesting little.
Yeah, I'm a forever optimist for the X stuff. So Fall of X, all right, let's go. Let's see what happens.
I'm excited. Apparently, that Vinny mentioned this to me a month ago when he was at the Comics Pro deal that they said that a major event's going to happen at the Hellfire Gala this year. I've heard a couple rumors. I'm not going to get into it, but it basically there's going to be this is part of it, but a Captain Krakoa is
Okay,
going
The
to
Cyclops guy,
basically lay waste to a lot of people on Krakoa. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly what happens there. I know Orcus is involved. It's going to be interesting to see how they try to take down the Mutant Nation.
Yeah, I'm always interested in what's going on with the X stuff because I'm a big Hickman fan, especially his big picture storytelling after Secret Wars. So anything that says, "Oh, this was because of Hickman's guidance or his what do you call it, his framework," then I'm gonna peep it because he already he laid out that plan for how many years, and this event has to happen with this person doing this or these people doing that. So all right,
I don't
let's
disagree.
see.
I'm excited. Apparently, Jean Grey's getting her own solo series at the end of this, and apparently she's going against. I don't know. They have some cool stuff if they do it right. I mean, because I honestly, in the last 2 years, I think Jean has had a couple of the best comic book moments. What she did to Noel was still one of the coolest fucking parts of the King of the Black when she single-handedly went in there and fucking opened his mind up and caused him pain. And then she had another really good moment in the what's it called? The one with the Inhumans, AVX or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
Avengers, X-Men, Inhumans, that crossover, where she basically went one-on-one with a Sentinel. I mean, with not a Sentinel, with one of the Celestial
gods,
Celestial gods. So, I mean, the fact that she's back to her top tier, Omega level fucking powers without the Phoenix Force is I think that's good for X-Men. So I don't know.
Storm has been awesome in the last few years. Right?
And she's the
she's
Queen Regent of Mars.
Oh yeah, man. She's getting the respect. I like that. I want more of that.
I agree with you too. That's one of the books that I had in my possession 4 or 5 times, Giant Size X-Men 1. I just kept trading it or selling it or whatever, just thinking I'd get another copy. And I took that little comic book low for 4 years, and I came back. That some bitch is out of pocket now. I mean, people realize
it's dipped again. There was a point where it was like $1,000 per point. CGC point. I remember like just when the boom started happening, there was a guy, and they recorded him and shared him paying cash. It was like an IG store, and he paid like just under 10 grand for a 9/8 giant size.
Damn.
Everyone's like, he kind of like raised that ceiling, and then everyone's like, "What the fuck? He's overpaying," and he's laughing now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's one of those iconic books that has multiple good first appearances. DC Presents 26, Iron Man 55. I mean, there's just a couple of those. There's not a whole lot of books that have multiple, top tier first appearances out there, and I think that's by far and away the best one as far as first appearances and
covers
and story and how it. Yeah, and how it basically ushered in this
cover appearance, first appearances. There's no debate. Yeah.
And it's not an easy book to get in good condition. To be honest with you, that spine that it has.
Yeah, that's fine. I know.
I
bought an
8.0 press god.
Yeah, I got an 8.0 that looked dirty. Opened it up, sent it to like one of those super specialist dudes. Spent $100 cleaning it, pressing it. Looked better.
You
came
spent
back.
a couple $100
again.
Jesus.
It was like including the pressing and all that. It was like $80, man, because he cleaned it, and cleaned the whole thing. And it looked beautiful.
Wade brought up a good point. X-Men 4 is another one where you got, top tier Avengers and X-Men characters with Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver.
Oh,
it's going to be interesting to see what they try to bring Wanda back into the X-Men fold whenever Marvel debuts them, because she's one of their most important characters in multiple of their storylines. So I don't think they'll recast. Doesn't make any sense. But it'll be interesting to see what they end up doing with Wanda, especially after it happened at the end of Doctor Strange.
Sure.
Yeah. And I think that whole idea that she could be a mutant, that's still more open than it used to be.
Yeah, definitely.
Like her character, like she's now like this. They don't know what she is, right? Like
that's
the whole multiverse and all that thing, like there's the singularity, all that stuff. Yeah. Oh, that was interesting. I was like, okay.
I'll never forget how excited I was about WandaVision when I thought that they were bringing in the Quicksilver from the X-Men universe.
Yeah.
I thought it was such a good idea because he was.
Yeah.
Those X-Men movies were pretty shite, to be honest with you. These last 3 or 4 they made, but every movie the Quicksilver fucking stole a scene. You know what I mean? The best part of that movie was the special effects with some of the stuff with Quicksilver. So I was really excited the fact that might make it in there, but no, he was just a random ass neighbor
fucking with us.
The brother, right?
They were just fucking with all of us.
I still those first 4 episodes of WandaVision, I don't know how people watched them.
I try to enjoy it, but I feel like I was just trying to convince myself that it was good. Like this was some
For real.
cinematic.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
It's like, dude, this shit is not good.
You're not wrong.
Like, what's the point? What's the point? What's the point? Yeah. But
I don't know.
Like
like
a
I
lot
said,
of Disney Pluses, it's too long. It's all been too long. Like
I enjoyed the Captain America one. The whatever what is it called? The one with
Falcon,
Bucky and
Soldier, Bucky, whatever.
I thought it was pretty good.
I think the big bad,
Loki was good too.
in terms of production. I think Loki is like the best.
Yeah,
and then Moon Knight close second in terms of their production.
I couldn't. Moon Knight was a snooze fest for me. I had high hopes for that too, but I couldn't get through it.
And the Warren Ellis, the recent Warren Ellis run was really good as well. Like what he did with Moon Knight, that was good. I hope
Oscar, what's his name?
Oscar
The
Isaac.
guy was a good actor. I'll give him that.
Very good.
Like, I mean, to be able to play the multiple personalities and some of the stuff they did, but then they started getting into fucking purple hippopotamuses or fucking elephant gods and some other weird shit. It lost me too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, the character that they debuted in that series is what? She was on FOC 2 weeks ago, or she's coming up in a Moon Knight. No, she hasn't been on FOC. No, she's coming up in Moon Knight 28 or 25 or something. One of the books.
Oh, the Silver Scarab or whatever.
Yeah, the Scarab girl. So they're doing that. Debuting in the series now. She's going to debut in the comics instead of the other way. Inception.
I couldn't get over Ethan Hawke's hair either. There was just something about it that pissed me off. You know what I mean? It just there's just something about his face I just didn't like it.
That guy left Uma Thurman.
Yeah.
All right, Star Wars talk. What you think about this, Trey?
I thought about this a lot earlier in the week, and I asked our old buddy Wade about it too. But with George Lucas's influence basically not there anymore. You know what I mean? He's not really pulling the strings when it comes to Star Wars. The last 3 to 4 years, the main universe has been built by Timothy Zahn, his early trilogies from the expanded universe, and Dave Filoni. And it's kind of interesting to me with the Ahsoka series coming up. You have Timothy Zahn's main character with Grand Admiral Thrawn mixing with Dave Filoni's biggest character in Ahsoka. And it's just interesting to me, like, who do you think has the biggest impact on Star Wars? It's very easy to say Filoni because of Rebels and the Clone Wars that he did, and basically creating Ahsoka. But it's also pretty interesting from where I sit because Zahn is the one that they gave the keys to directly after Return of the Jedi. The very first expanded universe was Heir to the Empire, which had Dash Rendar. It had, Luke, Mara Jade. It had so many different elements to it that are being used right now in some of Filoni's stuff. It's just, I don't know. I was just kind of curious what your guys' thought process were. I don't know if you even know too much about him, but like, who do you think's more important? Like, or are they both of equal importance?
I'd say
even give a fuck.
Timothy Zahn, I mean, for sure. In my opinion, compared to the two, I don't know what actual as far as the Ahsoka, show coming out, I don't know what actual writing influence he has in it, but his characters are going to kind of lay the foundation for the next 2 years at least with the show coming out. And we haven't, I mean, the greatest villain of all time in Star Wars is obviously Darth Vader, but
hero. Oh,
I mean, yeah, sure, right. But Thrawn is like a close 1A number 2, and I think in any type of story, you have to have a villain really, really make the story. Just like we were talking about Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, like, I think for me, Guardians of the Galaxy, it was, the villain was just so good. That's what really made the story. And I think with Star Wars, you have to have an awesome villain. Otherwise, you know, it's just a bunch of Jedi just talking about the Force the whole time. I don't know. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think Filoni has a pretty good batting average with Star Wars. So I think if you just, I mean, they're not going to do it because Disney wants to give all these other directors kind of, you know, options to do shows and movies. But if you kind of gave him that Kevin Feige role for Star Wars, I don't think he would fuck it up. I think he would do a pretty good job. But it's never going to happen with Kathleen Kennedy there. So, I mean, to me personally, I think Filoni is the guy, but they're never going to give him the keys to the house. They're kind of, it's going to go through Kathleen Kennedy and she's going to make the call. But to me, yeah, it's Filoni. I know Zahn he's kind of laid the groundwork, but if you just let Filoni kind of move this new Star Wars phase in his direction, I think it'd be pretty. I think it'd be good.
No,
I
that's.
gotta
I mean,
jump on
we've
what
heard.
Jizzy says as well.
You
Sorry,
guys
go
have
ahead.
probably heard the same stuff that I have about Jon Favreau having major issues with Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah.
I guess that I know that The Mandalorian was, you know, on a good go for season 4, but I mean, there's a lot of people that, hey guys, sorry, there's tornadoes and shit going on in Norman, and my fiance keeps calling me. I need to step out for a second.
Okay.
No problem. Yeah, I was gonna just jump on what Jizzy said in the chat. Like, what Filoni's doing is he's building on the source material, right? And
Yeah.
that he has that, he's proven where he's given something and he can expand on it. I mean, what he did with Clone Wars for the prequels, you know, made the prequels better. You know, he gave it more depth, more meaning, more soul, whatever you want to call it, right? So, and he's proven, I think, you know, with what he did with the animated stuff, that he can have a vision that lasts more than 1 or 2 years. It can be a longer storytelling format, which I think that's what it needs, man.
I just
Right?
think
That's
there's
what-
too many hands in the kitchen. You know, you got too many.
for real.
Yeah, there's too many directors. There's that.
Well,
the
they wanted to
second
make
reboot-
money, right? They wanted
Yeah.
to make money, and they go, okay, this team can do this series, so that, you know, every quarter there's a Star Wars property out there. It was just too much, and I think Filoni was, you know, we joke that he was writing in the back of, you know, he had that cameo in the last Mando season, and he's doing rewrites for Ahsoka, you know, or something.
The last Mando season, you can kind of tell that was a bit of a clusterfuck. You know, the direction was kind of
Yeah.
all over the place, and they were trying to drive it to an ending, but it was just like a Frankenstein type season.
That's why, you know, after that finished, it was like, oh shit, we're not gonna, like, the feeling was we're not gonna see Mando for a while,
Right.
right?
Let me
you
ask
got
you
that
guys
feeling
this.
like where he like was handing over, well, not Filoni, but it was being handed over, like, okay, I've tied up all the loose ends, everything's closed, here you go, here's your IP back, here's your character back, you can do whatever the fuck you want with it now.
Yeah.
He's basically going back to the start, you know. He's
Let me ask you guys this though.
Dragon's
Sorry,
Den was
go ahead.
telling. I just want to point this out real quick, and then you can say whatever. So actually, I was talking with Dragon's Den this past week about the direction of the writing in Mandalorian season 1. I guess Grogu was supposed to take off with Luke and learn the Force, and that was going to be the end of Grogu. But Kathleen Kennedy came in and said, "No, we need to push Grogu because we're not going to be able to sell merchandise."
Yeah.
And you know, if Kathleen Kennedy is going to keep making those like calls, it takes away from the creativity of the writers, and that's a problem, in my opinion. So,
I mean, I get that because she's running a company at the same time. She's trying to make money, but I mean, I guess it did fuck up the whole, I guess, the Mando story.
yeah, I mean, because he was buying Grogu stuff like after season 1. Really, it wasn't like it was exploding. It wasn't like increasing Grogu sales. I mean, it was like a flash in the pan, really. I just thought that was kind of annoying. And when he told me that,
ask you guys, do you guys think that they should? This is probably an unpopular opinion, but I am not excited about fucking Rey coming back at all in this new set of movies. I was completely okay with that being the fucking final chapter of Rey. I think that they should have honestly think that they should have made the new movies about the Mandalorian. I don't know. That's my personal opinion. I understand that's not it's not necessarily Jedi-ish and the whole, main theme of what Star Wars is integral part of what main Star Wars is. But I would, as of today, they got a better chance at me spending money on a ticket about a story about the Mandalorian than unfinished stories about Rey retrying to build the fucking Jedi Order. That's where I'm at. I don't know what you guys thought. It's weird because it seems like there are two different camps of Star Wars people now. It's like the Mandalorian and then the Rey people with the everything else. I don't know.
I just don't care about. I'm pretty sure. I don't want to shit on Daisy Ridley. I'm pretty sure she's a good actor, or actress, but I didn't really care about her in the movies. She wasn't moving the needle for me. I actually was more interested in Boyega's story arc. I thought something was going to happen there, but it kind of fizzled out.
That was terrible. Yeah.
Yeah, because he was wielding the lightsaber, so I thought they were going to kind of go into that, but it just it just fizzled out.
Well, yeah, I mean,
that was the most useless scene of all time.
Yeah,
yeah,
using the
really
lightsaber.
was.
Story
Think
with him
about
and
it.
Rose, that was the nothing burger. Yeah. So,
the Dragon's Den's right.
Yeah, going back on the Rey thing. To be frank, like with Star Wars, whenever they announce shit that's like, oh, we're going to go do this. Who knows, man? If we go back 2-3 years ago, how much of that shit's happened? Rogue Squadron's gone.
Yeah.
I was excited for that. That's gone. So who knows, man? And I think it goes to a greater thing that we're all talking. Like, it's kind of doesn't have this focus, right? And going back to the first question, I think Filoni's a guy, and someone mentioned it, putting in the Feige position. If he can be given that power, he can drive it. He can make a plan for years. So, and then, allow others to, okay, here's your thing to do. Here's your thing to do. Here's your thing to do. But this is the structure, the framework, get to this point. Yeah, he could.
It really seems like everyone's excited about Ahsoka, though. You know what I mean? I haven't seen.
I'm nervous. I'm fucking nervous.
I'm nervous too because I don't have faith in Rosario Dawson being able to pull that character off. I didn't like the look of her. I got to give credit. The last trailer, she looked a lot better. She didn't look like she was a 45-year-old middle-aged woman trying to pretend to be a teenager or a 20-year-old. They got they have a certain name, the tentacles. I forget what they're called, but they got it looking a little bit better. I don't know. Like I said, I'm excited to see Thrawn because I was in high school. I read Heir to the Empire when I was in high school. And the Dragons didn't mention it up above. He is a very low-key, like Thanos character. He doesn't use the Force, but what Thrawn doesn't have in the Force, he has in brain power and treachery. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they portray him on the silver screen, and if they make him as evil and treacherous and as smart as he was in the expanded universe novels, because he does have that Thanos. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, they've been teasing Thrawn since the first season of Mandalorian. Is that correct? Where she mentioned something about Thrawn.
Yeah, she's looking for Thrawn. Yeah.
So they have done that where they've slow played the fact that Thrawn, it's taken them 3 years to actually make it.
I find that now they're too slow. We needed a cameo in Mando 3. I thought at least closing credits, something.
It would have been cool if they would have, I thought that they were going to do it in that one scene, the second to last scene, when they had all the, they had that hollow projection where
they mentioned him, right?
Yeah, I thought he was going to pop up at the end and try to.
Yeah, we were talking.
Yeah, everyone was hoping for that.
Maybe
man.
there would be another scene where they would throw back to what was happening, and he was standing behind one of the dudes the whole time, listening to it all.
Yeah,
and he was going to be the one that fucking kills. What's his name?
I wish they'd incorporate the video games a little more. I like the storyline in the video games. I don't know how they could do that, but I think that's a there. Yeah, they could reference the games, but to bring in the video game stories as part, that's going to be tough. Because
Dragon's Den, we can talk about it.
He was kind of.
I totally agree with you. Fucking Ralph and I talked about it.
Yeah,
he was as good as an actor as Esposito is. He was so out of place to me as Moff Gideon. I understand that they went for a talented actor, but that little mustache and everything else, no one's scared of that motherfucker. He could have any sword he has to. Some dude with that little fucking mustache steps out. No one's scared of him. And
he's got that stigma. He's remembered for being Gus Fring. If you're,
Forever
it's the
Gus
same
Fring.
way. Yeah, it's the same with Dane Whitman in the Eternals. I can't see that guy is Jon Snow to me. He can't
Oh,
he
yeah,
will
that's
You're not
tough.
wrong.
he's not gonna be the Black Knight. And I think that was the situation with Moff Gideon. It was like Gus Fring in a Darth Vader outfit. So to me, but yeah, I couldn't get past it.
And he kind of
And then at that
got a
season
bit
finale
campy
where
at the
he's
end.
just
He
whooping,
overdid
he's
it.
just whooping people's asses.
Yeah.
I'm like,
He
nah, this
overdid
isn't
it. He took it
him.
over the top. Yeah.
Who was who's mentioning about Kith Star Wars? Did that come out earlier this year, or did it just come out?
That was actually last week, and I think it was for the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
I know some of the items were extremely high priced, a $70 T-shirt, that sort of thing. But for resale, the posters were probably the big winners, $25.
Okay.
I think they're selling for about 200, depending
Oh.
on which one you got. Yeah. But I mean, this was on my radar because last year they had a capsule. Kith did a collab with Star Wars and it did really well. So I was definitely gonna go for this. I mean, most of this stuff I bought for personal because I like Kith, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you guys were able to pick up anything. It was like almost immediate sellout. I want to say the best items lasted about 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, but everything was gone within the hour.
Yeah,
I had
tried
to clock
looking
in my
last weekend,
cart.
I couldn't
Oh,
get anything.
okay.
Yeah, so
I
I
had
missed
one of the
it.
clocks in my cart and decided against it. And I was like, I don't need a $90 clock.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna
you don't
try to
need a
flip it,
$9
so.
Kith clock.
God, there
Dude,
was a
I've
lot
only
of
flipped
product.
one Kith thing my whole life, believe it or not, and it
Was
was
it Spider-Man?
No,
The
it was the golf clubs. You remember
Oh,
when they
okay,
did the
yeah,
TaylorMade
TaylorMade?
collaboration?
Yeah.
Oh, no,
I
didn't
got
know
a
that.
set of the K790s. I bought a full set of the irons. I think I paid 14 for it. Ended up getting like 18 for it when they came
Not
in.
bad.
And
So-
after eBay, fucking everything
wait, Trey,
else. I
You,
paid
you sent golf clubs like on eBay, like you like sold them on, or you sold the golf clubs on eBay and then sent them off? Damn.
Yep.
tough.
No, they like J.R. Smith and a bunch of other celebrities were kind of advertising them. And they're tailor-made clubs, but they had a
Yeah.
special badging. I mean, it's basically like a comic book variant. I mean, it was
Yeah.
certain things, and then they changed up the look on it. They had some black shafts with some Kith logos, and
That's cool.
they did really well in Europe, believe it or not. Too, I sold mine to a guy in Italy. So
Wow, funny.
Kith is weak. Kith and Supreme. I'm too old to even discuss. Like I said, I'm not in
No.
that pocket. But if you know what to, I mean, Ralph knows what's going on, and I'm sure 78 does as well.
Kith
The
and
right
Supreme.
items flip
Sorry.
and flip fucking crazy for those two brands.
You'd actually be surprised. Kith is more of our generation. The individuals that are buying Kith, a majority of them are guys around our age. So younger kids do wear Kith, but it's definitely geared toward individuals our age.
Bring back the old Supreme.
We can
Nice Supreme.
we can skip this subject. We don't really want to talk about that.
I don't think we want to talk about NFTs.
I don't know. I just find the whole the Kith, even the freaking logo, man. Come on.
The box logo.
It's just the generic box logo bite. Come on.
I love
Come on.
78. He has the same amount of Sith hate in him that I do when it comes to certain things.
I'm just a bitter old man, seeing all the shit that I loved as a kid, or young, and just like getting bastardized, and that the bastardized generic version, derivative version, being the one that becomes popular.
That's how I feel about the United States right now.
Wait, would sell a hot dog. There's money in it, bro. Sold pools and people turn them into.
Pool flipping.
I
Was a thing.
did.
I remember some dudes, man.
I can show y'all some numbers. I think I told Ralph I made a fucking year's salary the first year on pools.
Oh yeah.
Because I had a truck. That was the thing is I just figured out bots and I had a truck. And at the time I had a gas card with the company I was working for. So I had free gas. So you'd have all these other like 17, 18-year-old kids hitting these pools with their bots, but people had to come pick up the pools and have their own truck. I was delivering anywhere in Oklahoma for free, to be honest with you. And I profited $38,000 in pools that first pandemic year. And if I could have had more inventory, I could have done 76,000. I was just a problem getting fucking inventory. Those above ground Coleman pools and Intex were absolutely, you're buying them for $400 or $500, and I got up to $2,200 for some of those Colemans.
Yeah.
That was
Too bad it didn't last.
Well, you know what's crazy? The next summer, I didn't do bad. I didn't do the same kind of numbers, but I still made close to 10 grand profit.
My God.
I was sad when that pandemic ended for that reason.
The saddest man in the world for the pandemic ending. No, I hear you, man.
Those single moms with 3 or 4 kids, man, they needed a pool to entertain them kids.
Yeah. They were paying out the ass. I
Here
mean,
comes Trey with the pools.
no
The
questions
back-
asked.
did.
They did not haggle
That's
at
fucking-
all.
Oh man, that's so funny.
They had that stimulus money, and it was straight cash, homie.
Yeah.
It really was.
Let's talk about these sports cards and some Caitlin Clark and Wemba action. So we got our first taste, huh? Coming up.
This is the biggest news of the week, in my personal opinion. That Topps Bowman has announced that in the Bowman 22 Inception Collegiate University Series, there are going to be autographed Caitlin Clark and Victor Wembanyama cards. I mean, you guys have seen what the fucking SI kids are doing. Could you imagine with this Topps card? And Ralph brought this up, honestly, earlier in the week. His God tier car is going to be his first silver prism whenever that comes out, which is honestly probably about 1.5 years away, depending on what the new schedule is. I mean, if you remember, they used to come out around Thanksgiving time with the prisms during basketball season. Then during the pandemic, that has changed up. So this card is going to be his first officially licensed card, I believe. And the same with Caitlin Clark. These two are probably the 2 hottest basketball prospects, male, female, on the planet. You could the chick from LSU is another one. I forget the Reese chick. She's as popular. Angel Reese, excuse me. But to have these cards and to have them autographed, I think they're gonna do really, really well.
Isn't CJ Stroud and a couple other guys in this as well?
It's
CJ Stroud. I think it's I forget his name, but the quarterback from Alabama. Is it Alabama?
Bryce
I
Young.
forget his name. Bryce Young, and one of the more popular players on Alabama, the basketball team. Is it Miller?
Brandon Miller, probably.
Oh, Bryce. Yeah, Brandon Miller. Yeah, the point guard.
They're all in this product. So my question to you guys is, do you guys think the play here is to sell it sealed? Because I feel like this product is gonna go nuts with all these autos and all these, especially for Wembayama.
I think sealed. It's like risk. The risk. I mean, Trey, we did that opening with Marcus like a week ago, and you opened up a 2020. Trying to get that JSON right, and those go for like $130. You paid $30 for it. So
yeah, it was one of those KSR bot target hits from 2001. I think I had 50 of the Bowman Chrome Mega Box at one time. I mean, I think I've only opened 2 or 3. So I mean, I still got a stack of them. Yeah, but like still, I mean, essentially you said like you threw away $120. So with that mentality, like I would definitely, my luck with sealed, wax is horrible. And this is Pokemon, but like, I just like Wade, sell sealed and buy singles, man.
Obviously, there's
you guys know my luck
when trying to chase that card, that Wembayama and that Caitlin card. So I mean, that's why I think this might skyrocket price wise, the sealed product.
Sure.
And the rumor about, so I don't have 100% confirmation, but the deal is that Wembayama might have a deal with Fanatics to have that autograph only for their product. So if that's really the case, it's going to bump that price up even more. It's,
with the SI kids, I mean, I saw, I forget who posted it, but I think it was our buddy Steven Dalton, a 9.2 CGC copy of the SI kids with the Wembanyama card went for $450.
That's crazy.
And there's been multiple sales of $800-900 for centered ones. So with this being a more officially licensed card and the fact that it's got a top certified autograph on it, I think it's going to blow up. I think everyone's exactly right when it comes to, keeping your sealed cases and buying singles. But that's one thing I've noticed. It's kind of like the Hasbulla. I don't know if you guys have seen the Hasbulla, that little midget from what's his fucking what country is
UFC?
it?
Oh, he's from Dagestan,
no,
right?
Dagestan. The one that is
Dagestan
so much less.
Is that a country for real?
Durkistan.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
where,
he's
like,
from Dagestan.
Khabib and all those guys are from.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
Sorry.
well, in the last UFC Prism that came out last month, they inserted autographed Hasbulla cards. and they are going for fucking crazy money. One of the golds
Yeah.
went for 25 grand last week.
Raw?
So it's one of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah, raw.
Jesus.
So
Somebody
it's,
just
it's one of
pulled the
those things that's
101
hard.
too.
Did they really?
Yeah, this morning somebody pulled the black 101.
Oh
I don't know
my God.
what they're gonna sell it for, but you're right. The out of 10, the gold is going for about 20K. He hasn't even had a
So I mean,
professional
if
fight.
those cards are going for that, like what are some of these? What are some of these colored versions of the Wembanyama going to go for? It's
I don't know.
I think I mean it's going to be interesting. We should probably talk about we should open a case for the channel.
Inception.
See if we can't get a case for cheap, and maybe do some breaks and sell some teams or sell some players or something like that. Maybe try to have some fun with it.
Yeah, let's sell our Pepe and get some of these Bowman Inception cards.
I have plenty of Pepe. But you know, another thing about this is in baseball, the first Bowman is a big deal.
Yeah.
In basketball and football, it has to kind of catch. Obviously, everybody wants the Wembayama, but it's a new deal, right? Is it going to catch on? Are people going to want a Bowman first basketball?
It's going to be interesting to find out.
Yeah.
I'm looking right now. I see the checklist. There's a bunch of fucking good players. There's a bunch of football players, like you said.
It's
There's
loaded.
a ton of good basketball players. You know,
It's
and
loaded.
some of those
It's
didn't
cool
do
product.
terrible last year. I know that a couple of those Chets from last year did really, really well.
Man, that's so funny about that dude that going for 25K and he hasn't even fought yet.
He's
just,
more of a social media kind of celebrity.
Huh. I mean, I know of him, but not like totally. But
I'm sure you've seen him on TikTok and Instagram and all that.
yeah, I want to see him fight. I want to see him fight.
He was
He actually got arrested this last weekend. Did you see that?
Yeah.
He got too many traffic violations or something. I know it has something to do with a traffic violation, but
That's hilarious.
I like
man.
that guy, to be honest with you. He makes me laugh. But at the same point in time, I just can't imagine spending $25,000 for his fucking card.
No. What if
Like,
he
how does it go up?
Fights? I don't know.
I
He fights,
kinda
He's never
think
fought to begin with.
but he's like a horrible fighter.
I'm kind of thinking that it's Wales driving the price up. You know, if they have a buddy that pulls it, the price is already at 20K, so they sell it for that price. I don't know if the sales are actually legit, but that's kind of my thinking. Because who's really paying that amount of money for Hasbulla?
There's a lot of money, stupid money out there. I don't know.
Did you see? I don't know if you saw. You'd love this shit, Ferd. But last year he came to America for the first time, and it was like in Las Vegas, and people were like walking up and like giving him gifts. I don't know if you saw that, but so someone walked up and gave him a Switch, and he immediately flipped it on like the Russian version of eBay. Like anything people were giving him, he was turning around and flipping it over there. I swear to God.
That's hilarious, dude. Too much
But
money.
I mean, you know, I think it's smart. I think the sports cards are so difficult nowadays, you know, to people to find reasons to buy them. And I mean, we're talking about Bowman Inception University right now. We've never discussed, no one's discussing that stuff. And, you know, the UFC cards, there's not really anything that stands out that people are excited to go look for as far as new UFC talent, et cetera. So they had to put the Hasbulla in there. And I mean, there was a couple bounties and a couple other things going on for those Hasbulla cards. So it caused some interest in people, and people were buying them. I mean, I haven't seen a blaster box of the UFC anywhere, and I've been trying to pick up some Bowman 2023 blasters and can't find any right now. So
yeah, me either.
Or jumbos.
Yeah, the jumbos is what I was looking for, but I think it was just a pre-order deal.
Yeah. What's up with this Panini Monopoly card stuff? I keep seeing that in the Discord.
That's a gimmick.
I don't know. I wanted to ask you guys' opinion on that. I know Bruce B. Selden, one of the guys in our Discord, has been consistently picking them up, and I mean, some of the rookies of the Pablos and the Chets and a couple other are doing really well, and some of the inserts are doing really well. I just don't know long term. I just don't have a lot of faith in it, and there's a lot of people spending big money on trying to pick up and complete sets and do this right now. So I don't know.
When Panini, so when it originally came out, that's when it kind of blew up. But when they re-released it on the Panini website, I thought that's when I was like, okay, this is a cash grab. Long term, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's going to be a variant, right, for some of these rookies. So if you have this Monopoly variant, um, I guess you're making money, but I don't know. I'm not gonna. I guess I'll pick it up to flip, but it's not something that's on my radar that I'm actively looking for. But I don't know, man.
Yeah,
I'm in the
I think
same
I'll
boat.
pass. Honestly,
I've had
Doesn't
opportunity to
intrigue
buy
me.
some of them, and I've walked by them 2 different times, and I just like, I don't understand if you can play them or not. Like, I don't
Yeah.
understand the Monopoly portion of it. Does that make any sense? Like, how I don't know.
So is it like if
Maybe
you
I'm
get
just too.
the boardwalk card, is that worth the most? Is that how it works by property or?
I don't
You're asking
know.
the wrong
I
person.
really
Because
don't
if you
know.
have Boardwalk and Park Place, that's like the richest property in Monopoly, right? So if you have the Pablo Boardwalk or Park Place, are you
You never win Monopoly if you buy those two, though.
but in the
Yeah.
game, right? They're the most expensive property if you land on it.
Yeah. You
Yeah, I
gotta
don't
get the orange and purples, and then a couple of the yellow, the red.
Oh yeah, if you get those,
you
you win.
You get,
You get the whole
yeah,
thing.
because you can get there early and
Yeah,
drain
yeah,
everyone early.
exactly.
I don't know. I don't know what I think about it, to be honest with you. I'm leaning towards them being kind of gimmicky and not a great long-term play, but this could be one of those ones that actually is. I don't know. It's going to be
Yeah.
interesting to see over the next few weeks. It's going to be interesting to see over the next few weeks what collectors are looking for more. Are they looking for, like you said, the Monopoly variants or the Silver Prism variants as which one's moving the most units? So I don't
Yeah.
know.
No, it's cool. No, it's something to think about. You know, just put on your radar and check it out. Why not, right? So, and then DraftKings. Are you talking? There's like box breaks now on DraftKings. You can just like
Yeah.
buy into
So
it? How's that work?
So it's an auction and you're bidding on the packs. I think some of the packs were going for in around 150 to 200, 250, something like that. But the actual value of that 2017 Prism is 3 to 4K. But the amount of people that actually bid on this, it DraftKings definitely made out well. But I guess my whole thing is do you guys think this is it? As opposed to buying into these breaks with these Instagram accounts where all this shady stuff goes on, are you more uh, are you leaning toward buying into a break that's on DraftKings where that it's fair, you're not going to get cheated out of a big card or a big hit?
Man,
like box
that's
breaks
the
in
whole
general.
issue I have with box. That's why I have the whole issues I have with box breaks right now is exactly what you're talking about. It's you just don't know who you can trust anymore.
Right.
Seeing some of the horror stories and seeing some of those videos we've seen with some of those kabooms and downtowns in the last month, it'd be really hard for me to send some money to one of these breakers.
I just don't like unless I know the guy. I don't enjoy it. I don't get any fun out of I don't get the thrill of it personally. I don't know.
I used to buy through Houdini at Blowout. That guy was like one of the originator of the breakers, and I mean, he didn't fuck anyone over, and he's still doing well over there at Blowout. He's the only one that I would probably buy into a break again.
Yeah, I bought into Bowman, team breaks, but basketball, I mean, I don't really collect basketball, but if DraftKings did something with Bowman, I wouldn't be opposed to buying into a break like that for a jumbo. If it's a team break, especially if it's a team that you want to buy into. I just think it's a more legit form of box breaking, in my opinion. And I mean, I know they break on YouTube already, but I feel a lot more safe buying through DraftKings, and that's not to say that DraftKings might not jip me, but DraftKings versus backyard breaks, if I had the choice, I'm gonna go with DraftKings, right?
Yeah, definitely.
100%.
Cool, good stuff. I didn't know that. That's funny they're getting into that space, but kind of makes money somehow. I don't know if you guys want to do this, but it was kind of a buy or sell. I was thinking of just guys that have kind of dropped, and with the 2023 Bowman Chrome set coming out this week, I wanted to look at some previous prospects that are a little bit lower now, or they're not doing like totally awesome, like out of the gate, whatnot. But Jordan Walker. I think he got sent down last I read, but he's not doing like totally well, but he's basically the future of the Cardinals. He's like 21-year-old prospect. Would you buy or sell him on the dip for like a $50 Bowman Chrome auto?
I'm buying that guy.
Me
That
too.
guy,
Really?
it's I mean that's kind of what happens. You come up and you go down. He's ahead of in his career where he's supposed to be at. I think he's ahead of others, at least these prospects that you have here. But yeah, I'm buying Jordan Walker 100%.
Trey?
I watched him a couple games earlier this season. He's definitely having some issues with major league pitching, and Ralph's talked about it before. Especially with a lot of these young guys, it doesn't take the scouting reports to figure out if they have a flaw or a hole in their swing or not able to hit a certain pitch. It doesn't take long for that to get from different clubhouses. And I think he has obviously he's got God tier talent when it comes to swinging it back. But I think they may have rushed. He had a really good spring training. He hit the ball really, really well in spring training, and that's what got him the promotion. But I think they probably jumped the gun a little bit. It probably wouldn't have hurt for him to spend a little bit of time into AAA and see a little bit quality pitching before they did that. You know, what sucks about stuff like this, though, is a lot of times when guys get sent down, it destroys their confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be interesting to see exactly what happens to him, you know, between now and the All-Star break to see if he you know, because a lot of times they get sent down and they get an attitude about it.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be interesting to see how he bounces back because he has the talent to be an All-Star. I mean, he's flashed it before, but at the same point in time, he didn't do very well. The Cardinals sucked this year anyway. So.
Yeah. That's the other thing too. There's not a lot of focus, but I mean, the Cardinals are like, you know, like the Cubs. You could, you know, I mean, I know that they're rivals, but you know, they're kind of the mainstays of like baseball teams, right? Always, great fans and all that stuff. You know, it's good for baseball for those teams to be good. You know,
I don't know. I haven't kept up of where he's batting in the lineup, but I doubt he has much protection in that lineup. And another thing is when these guys come up, the off-speed stuff is what usually is their Achilles heel. So he hasn't really seen a ton of off-speed major league stuff. He got a ton of fastballs in spring training, and he was crushing. But I don't think it's not a bad thing that he didn't do too well. He just needs to figure the swing out and hit off-speed stuff, and I think he'll be okay.
78. Who's your team over here in the States?
Because the family's from New York, so it's always going to be the Yankees.
Yeah. Do you watch baseball at all? A lot.
I used to watch as a kid. But we can't get it here. There's no way to watch it. So it's a bit hard to stream. The timing and all that. It's too long. So
right. Is Shohei like popular at all, or in Southeast Asia?
In Japan, he's a god.
Yeah. But like
in Japan, he's a god, man. You can't buy any of his product. It's just instantly sold out.
Oh, that's funny.
Like you can't even buy his jerseys and stuff. They're just nothing exists.
Really?
Like you can buy the jersey I bought. You can buy the Japanese with no name on it. If you want to go put the name on it, all right, they don't have his letters. Like you can't make his name because they're missing letters.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, with his pending free agency coming up, like, let's say he leaves the Angels for, I don't know, some West Coast team like the Mariners, for example. I mean, whatever. Does that affect, like, will his Angels like first or second, third year cards dip in value because he goes to another team? No, I've always wondered that. They'll go up.
I mean, Ralph's talked about it. I've said it 10 times, but if you play for the Dodgers and you play for the Yankees, they have such a gigantic fan base that people buy up everything related. And guys like Shohei Ohtani, I don't think it's going to bother them that they got an Angel uniform on if he's swinging the bat for the Dodgers or the Yankees or even the Mariners. Because that's the thing about the Mariners is, they're not really a small market team considering. I mean, it's interesting to see they don't have the fan base that the Yankees or the Dodgers do, but at the same point in time, I mean, that's where Ichiro and King Griffey Jr. played.
A-Rod.
Yeah, you got to throw A-Rod in there.
Yeah.
And those collectibles are still doing well. I mean, like you said, the PSA 10 Griffey 89 upper deck, is one of those ones that everyone should have bought 4 or 5 years ago. And every year you think, oh, I'm gonna get it. It goes up another $500.
Yeah, it's a classic card. I love that. I love that
It
card.
is.
I have like 4 of them. Anyway, so I added some games since Vinny was gone. I just thought I saw some interesting things, and I was talking with my little cousin about like what video games he's playing, and he's like, "Oh, I'm playing PS3, PS2. I'm not playing that new stuff." And so it made me kind of think, well, I know that like the Nintendo, Super Nintendo, even like N64 sealed, complete in box, like those are getting pretty expensive. PlayStation 2, I think you could still find a pretty good value, and there's more sealed product for PS2, PS3 than I thought. And then I also saw this is PS3 sealed system, or PS2, sorry, sealed system. Would you guys ever invest in a sealed system and grade it? It's kind of
I would sell
that.
them, but buy one. I don't understand why anyone would buy one.
I mean, a flip or
Yeah.
like if you found like a sealed PS2 for like a $1,000 and like I don't know VGA'd it for 85. Seems like
They grade them.
Do they sell for a lot? Like sealed?
This one, this dude's asking for $2,500 for it. So
Yeah, but
last time I
he's
sold was
asking,
like
I
18.
can ask for anything, but
Last
does it
sold was
actually-
1,800.
God, sealed.
Oh, there's been 18. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Some of I know some of the controllers do really well sealed on the secondary market graded, like some of the Super Nintendo. It's just weird that's the thing about the video game market that I've been trying to get into it for the last 2 years, but I just don't have a great feel for it. Like I have no idea. Like with that Zelda that's coming out, I guess it came out, was it Sunday?
Something like that. Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see. There's going to be 15,000 people sending, first print copies of that to get graded either CGC or VGA. And it's just, that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
it's going to get crazy. People are sending in, I know multiple people are sending Switches already to get graded so I don't know. I don't know what the allure of it is, but at the same point in time, it seems like Europe controls the video game speculation and market. So it really does. That's where a majority of it started, where it was in Europe, talking to Vinny, and it came over to the States a little bit, and obviously with CGC and being involved in it. But then you got the VGA and the WATA stuff, which is, the 85 grading point being the 9.8, it's difficult to understand for a lot of people. It's just, I don't know. I have a hard time wrapping my head around it. I've spent some money. I bought some stuff, but
Yeah.
I just don't understand the sealed console thing.
Yeah. And to kind of piggyback on what you're saying, like the newer like games, right? Like I was looking at a Breath of the Wild on Wii and on Switch, graded 9.8 from WATA, CGC, whatever you want to have, whatever you call it. And they're going for like 150 to 200. And you can get a sealed one for like $49.99. I have one on my and I think, that's not a bad flip. If you get a 9.8, if it goes from 150 to 200 and you get it for like $50, I just thought that was interesting. That game came out at least on Switch. It came out like when the Switch came out, right? I don't know if you guys know, but that's not that early of a game to go for that much already. I don't know. I just thought it was kind of interesting. But anyway.
Yeah, my only thing would be, how many people are buying graded games, the recent ones,
Yeah, and it might be like maybe not a flip, but maybe like, a 3 to 5 year kind of hold if you want to. But that's a lot of money to park into video games too. So
look at this right here, Ferd.
What's that?
You can zoom in on that.
Yeah.
A VGA 95 copy of Legend of Zelda for the Switch came out, and the guy asked $10,000 for it and got it about an hour ago.
See, that's a crazy flip right there, right?
That's a VGA 95 is equivalent to a CGC 10,
right? Yeah,
I don't know, like what I've heard in the what was going on in the video game market, like the amount of fuckery and all that. I get very nervous with that kind of. That just makes no sense. It's that much money for something that new.
Yeah, no, that's why I thought it's just like, huh?
Are they inflating someone? My buddy's buying it for me, and
And
so that I can sell a whole bunch for a bit less.
Sure. It's
and then
just
there's a collector's edition that just came out for Zelda.
right. Yeah, there's a collector's edition for the Switch. It goes for like $450 raw. But again, it's very
like the
new game.
The
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
There's
that
special
big
edition.
box. How do you do that? How do you grade the whole box?
You can send it to.
Like, how does that work? With the art
There's,
book and all that shit in there.
I mean, yeah, there's companies that do grade that as well. I don't know. I'm not an expert in that whatsoever, but you can get those graded too. I forgot what company does it. It's either VGA or CAG. I want to say. They'll grade anything. You got to pay them.
Yeah, it's kind of like the action figure thing. They just put it in a box.
Basically, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because I hit them up because I wanted my my VHS special edition Godfather graded, and they're like, "Yeah, we'll do it for $400." I'm like, "Oh, I think I'll wait on that." But I mean, they'll do it. So.
Yeah, because they make you a custom box, right?
Yeah, it's literally just for like display. It's nothing like I'm not trying to flip it or anything like that. But I mean, you gotta pay for it.
Go buy some acrylic and a heat gun.
I'll
bend your own thing.
I may have to FaceTime you to have you help me out with that. I don't know if you got time to do this, but I want to do a segment called This or That. And so kind of my thought process was someone gives you $2,600, you walk into a like collectible store, and then you you turn that 2,500 into 5K in 3 to 5 years. Like, what would you buy? And so I don't know, it's just some fun, kind of random.
That's cool.
When you guys want to check it out, but all right. So your first choice is you got $100. Do you go with the Century 1 or a sealed PS4 Resident Evil 4? What do you guys think?
Well, black cover,
Why'd you
9.8.
put Century?
I don't know. It's random. There's no wrong answers here.
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know who would want is this a graded PS4 game or
No, it's a sealed PS4 game.
I'm gonna just go with the Century. I mean,
yeah,
I could probably sell that a lot faster versus that PS4 game.
I think there's plenty of that game out there, man.
Yeah.
And here's the weird thing, man. Like I was looking at sold prices for these games, and that's how much they go for, man. It's really weird. I do not get it. It's just something I kind of ran into, but
cool. How much does it go for?
I saw it last sold for $100. It was really weird. I don't know. But yeah, that's what they're going for. PS4 specifically. I didn't look at PS3 or PS2, but that's what they're going for.
That's weird, especially because of the digital downloads available of that.
Right. Yeah.
For the 4. The 2 or 3, I understand. Yeah.
Right.
Oh man, I have no idea, man.
I'm gonna go ahead with this. I'm gonna go with the Umbreon because this J-Rod there's just way too many variants of this card. There's a lot. There's
so rookie, right?
There's so many J-Rod rookies. It's crazy. Yeah, I go with that Umbreon. And Trey says this is like the new Charizard, right? So I'm picking that up.
So Trey, I don't know if you missed out kind of what we're doing here. So it's a this or that segment. So basically you go into a store, there's 3 different collectibles you buy or just choose from. And these are the price points they last sold for. And basically just asking the panel what they would go for between the two to like flip or make money later down the road.
Oh, I'm going with Umbreon 100%.
Cool. All right, here's the last one. You got 2K. Which one would you get?
Easy.
I'm going with that Chet, to be honest.
You going with the Chet?
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, this is a magazine. I know magazines are, and it's graded. It's high grade. Is that Jordan and Perkins on the cover?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I'm pretty sure people are gonna want that, but I think this has the potential to go up in value a lot more than the magazine. So, and it's a rookie ticket. So, and it's
definitely more of a gamble. But
more of a gamble.
Yeah. 78. What do you think?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's a gamble, but there's more upside on the Chet ticket there. But yeah. And it's an 8.0, man. Can't we get a higher grade?
Yeah. and what's crazy is like these are prices that last sold like a week ago. So that Chet, I mean, he hasn't played it. I mean, I think Oklahoma got a freaking star in Chet Holmgren. He has the fire.
Right.
He's skinny as hell, but like, man, he just plays. He plays big. He's amazing. He hasn't even played a season yet, and it went for $2,000, which I thought was, if scouts are right, I go with it. But, on the other hand, I think that Sports Illustrated, I don't know if it's going to go up a lot in value later down the road, 2, 3. What's Michael going to have to do to have that go up like another $2,000, right? Whereas
Is that his first cover? Is that what the significance is?
Supposedly it's his first cover. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and I think that's the year they won the national championship too.
Okay.
I want to say so. Anyway,
I would take both of them though if they're.
Oh yeah, I take both.
Can we get it more than 8-0? Get a 9, 9-2.
It's good.
Looking for a 9, man.
When it comes, it's going to be interesting with a lot of these magazines. As magazines start to get a lot more popular, and you start to see more of them. It's gonna be interesting to see how many mint copies of a lot of these magazines are out there. A lot, you know what I mean? Comic book people have been collecting and trying to keep them in decent shape since the early 70s. Magazines, most people don't think about them as collectibles, so they were, used as coasters and rolled up and put in book bags. So it's going to be interesting to see how many high grade copies on a lot of these Sports Illustrated actually show up.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of people who like 9, 8 kind of copies are probably very low, but I think you're gonna get a lot of 9s. That kind of, like, oh, that's a nice card.
I could live with
away,
9s.
but they don't. Yeah, they probably don't put it in a nice Mylar or anything like that.
Yeah. Cool. Well, that's the end of our show, guys. No NFTs. I'm sorry for all the NFT people, but there's no NFTs today. Apologize.
Yeah, everyone's really upset about it. I can tell in the comments.
What do you guys have going on for the rest of the week?
I am going to the Live Golf event tomorrow in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Nice.
Kind of excited to go. What about you, fellas?
What about you, 78?
So we got the toy news every week with Omar, who's in the chat today. Lost Cause Collective. We're on every Saturday night, Pacific time at 8:30. And we go through the week's action figure news, and it's crazy. It's like comics. It's just every week there's shit, man, to talk about or complain about, and get excited about and get disappointed about, but stuff to talk about. There's always stuff to talk about. Yeah. No,
I caught your guys' show on Saturday. It's kind of a different. I try and catch you guys every Saturday.
We appreciate it. You've been on there for the last 3 weeks in a row, man. That's really cool.
Yeah.
We go through the news. It's nothing unique. Other people do it, but we as seasoned collectors and guys who, every one of us does something with, like, either Johnny does his 3D prints and things like that. I do dios and photography. Try and come from a different angle. And one thing, we don't try and pretend we're not for kids. We're adults. Let's talk like adults. Don't pussyfoot around that shit. So
Homeboy was going hard on Saturday. It was pretty interesting.
We get angry.
It was cool to hear,
angry, man.
Like, I don't really look into figures like all that much, but it was interesting to hear you guys talk about, don't buy this 7th version of this figure, because basically they're just it's a money grab essentially.
Oh yeah.
I had no idea.
Terrible.
So that was cool.
Ralph was talking about making money, Kathleen Kennedy, and Grogu, baby. Goddamn. We're dealing with that. All right.
Yeah.
They're literally, here's a new figure coming out that you can literally buy on the rack right now. It's like, what? Just repackage, because they're trying to get you.
You guys are going to spend $200 and buy this Harley. I know that.
Oh, she's nice, man. I did it. I don't.
Yeah, it does look cool.
That's Harley Quinn to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know that they've changed.
You can hear her voice. You can hear her voice. Yeah, that's really cool.
Mr. J.
What about you, Ralph? What do you got going on this week?
It's Mother's Day weekend, so just normal IRL stuff. So
Thanks, man.
So well,
the thing is,
just doing
Mother's
stuff with
Day,
my wife.
Father's Day, like in the States and Europe, growing up in Australia, Asia, it's all different dates.
Yeah. Is it like Mexican Mother's Day yesterday, right?
Yeah. So we did that.
I heard all
too.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah, we went to dinner.
What's
I
that
think
called?
It was on Tuesday. It's just Mother's Day
a
in
different
Spanish,
day.
but
Mexican Mother's Day.
Yeah, Mexican.
It's just different day,
MMD?
basically, right?
Yeah, little
MMD.
MMD for y'all.
Yeah, but yeah, just Mother's Day stuff, man.
That's cool.
I'm taking mine. She loves Red Lobster, so we're going to Red Lobster on Sunday. Her dad, mom, and I.
There you go. Yeah.
To get some fucking biscuits, cheddar biscuits.
The biscuits are good, man. You get them frozen too, can't you?
Yeah, they're better fresh. I mean, you can get them at the store,
sure.
but
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah, I'll be doing my show for the Nerd channel. I'll be doing a Pokemon show on Sunday, an anime. So I got a guest, a homie that's been wanting to do the show with me. Pickles is in Vegas getting wasted, so I had to
Damn, on
call him a
Mother's Day.
reliever. But yeah, we'll be talking about anime and Pokemon and some Dragon Ball. So I'm gonna let him just basically talk the whole time.
Animes? I didn't know you anime for.
I used to. I got into like big time like Sunset or Sunset Video or Suncoast Video. That was like my jam back in the day, man. I don't know if you guys know that spot, but that was the place you get VHS like anime for like $40 in '97. You know what I mean? So anyway, so we'll be jamming on Sunday, and then Brad and myself, we started a financial news show every Wednesday night at 4:30 Pacific. It's called Sunset to South. It's not comic book related at all. We're just trying to keep people informed of like, kind of the BS and trying to take what the reality of stuff's going on in the financial markets and like the fake stuff. So if you guys come out, I'll drop the link real quick. But it's kind of real stuff. It's kind of boring, but
Stonks.
it's all good. Stoinks, yeah. But we talk about Pepe in there. We don't talk about Pepe in there, but no, it's a fun show. And we're doing with a community member named Brad or Southpaw Brad.
Yeah,
so,
Southpaw Brad. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. It's good stuff. We had our inaugural show on Wednesday, and it went pretty good. So,
Dude, I can't tell if I'm about to stroke out or not. Man, this left eye don't look right.
Seem fine to
I'm
me.
telling you.
All right, folks. Well, we had 24 live. Thanks, Dragon's Den and Peeps for coming
24.
through. We had some Gen Z peeps in the chat today, which was really exciting. And no NFT news again. I'm sorry, guys, but next Thursday we'll see you same time, 6:30 Pacific, 9:30 Eastern. You all have a great weekend and take care.
Take care.